Welcome everyone to today's webinar with Grapevine Evaluations and Wesley Houston. Today's webinar is a secret weapon of successful HR managers, specifically dealing with 360-degree feedback. I am your host, Adrian, with co-host Katya today, and we will be interviewing Wes, basically prying his brain for knowledge and specifically what you can do as an HR manager and why 360 feedback is so very effective. Wes, could you, well, first of all, Wes, welcome on the call. How are you?
I'm doing great, Adrian. Thanks for hosting today.
You're very welcome. Could you tell the folks a little bit about yourself? I'm sure that there's many of them that know you or maybe have spoken to you before, but for those that are not familiar with you and Grapevine in general, maybe just give them a little bit of background about yourself and Grapevine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first off, Grapevine, we've been a leading application provider for businesses for over 8 years now. We have a client base around the globe, and the company has grown year over year. Originally, we've come to market with GrapevineSurveys.com, which supported all employee-related surveys, such as employee engagement, employee satisfaction, exit interviews, and training-related surveys. We saw the need for a true multi-rater 360 solution, as there's not many viable options out in the market. Most tools are either way too expensive or they force a certain intellectual property or methodology, which always doesn't work. We were able to take the same Grapevine Surveys, easy-to-use, customizable engine and apply it to a complete multi-rater 360 solution, and with that, Grapevine Evaluations was created. Grapevine Evaluations has grown to be one of the most cost-effective, dynamic, easy-to-use 360 solutions in the market. We're strictly web-based, so there is no software to install or to download from either the admin side or the end user or anyone providing feedback. All you need is that internet connection, and everyone's ready to go. Personally, I started with the company with Grapevine in 2005. I'm the current Director of Sales and Operations here. I've been responsible for bringing both products to the marketplace and looking after them ever since.
Now, could you, obviously a lot of people are interested in, the benefits basically for 360, and first of all, that's a pretty impressive background there, Wes, so obviously you know what you're talking about. As far as, when it comes to the key stages, for example, for 360 management, obviously planning, efficiency, flexibility, data, and user experience. Could you, give a quick high-level overview, like a 1-2 sentence maybe on, excuse me, on each point?
Yes, absolutely. We're going to break down these further into the webinar, but just to give you a high-level sort of explanation of each one of these categories. So in order to be a successful project, so from your end as the admin side, from the planning on the setup, we tried to make this as easy as possible. We have pre-designed templates that you can select and customize your questions from. We have a question library where you can build your own content as well, easily being set up with just copying and pasting in. We also have an Excel import feature that allows you to easily import all the employees' names and emails into the tool. So we've always tried to keep that easy setup going. Efficiency. So we're just going to reduce the time spent on the evaluations without quality decreasing. So we built this application with saving your time as a top priority. We have many time-saving features to make it the most efficient product out there. We have a one-click copy function, so you can, once you have the form set up, when you want to roll it out again, it's a one-click copy. You can automate the launch and the email reminders and the close and the report distributions, drag and drop, moving things around, and you can monitor all the status in real time. Flexibility, we offer a ton of customizations. Many built-in options allow Grapevine software to fit to the needs of any organization type. There's no limit to the number of forms you can create or the number of questions on the form or the number of limit of number of raters each person can have. Again, fully customize your questions, your relationship categories, and the actual report output. In the data area, this is the most important piece. Really, it's the reporting capabilities. So we give you the ability to report back on as much detailed data with specific visions for the business. You can have individual reports or executive summary reports. Again, all that data is in real time. And the data will be stored in your account as long as you remain an active customer. So you can always refer back to any of that historic data and compare against. And then as well as equally important, the end user experience. So we made it very easy for the employees to fill in the surveys and submit. This means less time and resources spent on training and fixing any of their mistakes. We're here to sort of make you look good and the project be a success.
That is awesome stuff. Just a reminder for those that maybe aren't aware is today we do have a very special offer for everyone who is on the call and who remains on the call until the end. So please be sure and not miss out on that, because you will you'll basically love what we have to offer here at the end of this presentation. So with that, how about we get started here, Wes, and we'll kind of dive into the nitty-gritty of 360 evaluations.
Sounds good.
Okay, now I'll just take over for this part. And before we get into those 5 key essential functions of the tool, for those who are on this webinar and might not be familiar with what 360 evaluations are all about, could you maybe start off by telling us a little bit more about what exactly the 360 evaluation and how it differs from other forms of employee evaluations?
Absolutely, absolutely. 360 feedback is also known as multi-rater feedback or multi-source feedback. It includes feedback from people all around you, such as yourself, your manager, your direct reports, your peers. It gives the employee an understanding of the differences in perception from the people around them. You can also choose to include feedback from external sources, such as customers and suppliers or other interested stakeholders. It may be contrasted as well with upward feedback, where managers are given feedback only by their direct reports, or a traditional performance appraisal, where the employees are most often reviewed only by their managers.
And what would be the major purpose of using 360 evaluations and not other methods that you mentioned?
Well, basically, the 2 main purposes for a 360 is either for development or for performance. If performance-related, it may be tied to compensation and be a part of the company's annual review process. For development, it can be used for many things at all levels, such as executive or individual development, career development, succession planning, or even team building.
Wes, judging from your extensive experience in the industry, what type of companies would you say most likely to benefit from 360 feedback?
Well, technically, any company can benefit from this, as 360 feedback program is scalable in terms of company size and is flexible to the needs of all kinds of businesses. 360 feedback use is almost universal among all Fortune 500 companies. Any company can benefit from it, but organizations that derive the most benefit from this process use it for individual development planning, coaching, and feedback, and carefully manage every step of that process, from choosing who will participate to investing in extensive training for all involved employees. It really comes down to how a successful implementation and what is done with the data after the fact.
And for those companies that want to benefit as much as possible from implementing 360-degree evaluations, what approach you recommend for them when designing 360 evaluations?
Well, basically, the best approach to designing a 360 is to fully customize the 360 process to the specific competencies and values required to meet the company's goals and objectives. You don't have to have one competency model throughout the whole organization. You can have it for different layers of management. You can create multiple sets of competencies to ensure the relevancy to the business and the participant roles within that company or organization.
Let's say that those companies designed an effective 360 assessment. Now, what can HR managers do to ensure that it is implemented effectively at the end of the day?
Well, I call these your critical success factors. First of all, you need to make sure that the evaluation is not performed on its own. In addition to the assessment, coaches need to perform development planning and follow-up activities. We also ensure that the manager of the person being evaluated supports the evaluation. 360 evaluations work even better if the process starts with the executives at the top and cascades downward throughout the organization. Use your senior management as role models. In order for 360 surveys to produce sustainable changes in the managerial effectiveness, the 360 process should be an ongoing practice. This allows participants to receive continuous feedback on specific skills that can warrant future change in behaviors. Studies show that the more often the manager goes through the process, the greater the improvement in scores. Choose the participants and manage the feedback process closely, approving the raters. Train everybody involved in advance of what a 360 is. And managers have to meet with their subordinates to discuss this feedback after the fact.
Wes, I know that there are other forms of employee evaluations that exist today. Why is 360 feedback superior to them?
Well, it's superior for many reasons, mainly anonymity. The opinions are voiced anonymously. It encourages a higher level of honesty. The accuracy of feedback. A traditional performance review where one supervisor assesses a subordinate is no longer seen as an effective means of obtaining accurate feedback for employees. With traditional reviews, employees are related by a single person who may be biased or have an incomplete view of their work. 360 feedback is viewed as more accurate because of the nature of the process. It offers feedback on observed behaviors and performance from a circle of raters as opposed to just the viewpoints of that one individual. Multi-raters offering similar feedback will send a reinforced message to the learner about what is working well and what needs to be improved. Feedback is more difficult to ignore when it is repeatedly offered by multiple sources. The acceptance of feedback and performance improvement. When a learner sees a consistent pattern of feedback, that feedback is more likely to become reinforced and is more difficult to write off as invalid. There's a possibility that multi-rater feedback from a 360 review is more likely to be accepted by the employee. Once an individual accepts that feedback, there's an increasing likelihood of behavioral change and performance improvement. It increases the development for both the organization and employee. 360 feedback is one of the best methods for understanding personal and organizational developmental needs. In turn, you will have stronger managers and help employees further their careers as they know what to work on. And it also reduces that discrimination. When feedback comes from a number of individuals in various job functions, discrimination because of race, age, gender, and so on is reduced. The horns and halo effect, in which a supervisor rates performance based on their most recent interactions with the employee, is also minimized.
Now let's take a look at the 360 evaluations from the employee's perspective. What are the benefits to those who are being evaluated with 360-degree feedback?
Well, prior to the 360-degree process, learners usually have no intentions to change behavior in the foreseeable future. This is when learners are unaware of problems or that there is a need for change. Once the 360-degree process is implemented and the learner begins to receive feedback, they might realize how they are being perceived by others and recognize some areas of improvement. It is during this stage that the learners are deciding whether or not there is a need to take action or to correct the problem. In the 360 process, specific plans of action are developed as the learner chooses among potential solutions. During the months following the 360 process, the employee puts plans into actions and improves his or her performance, which can potentially lead to salary increases and promotions.
I know that we discussed some general benefits of 360 employee evaluations, but what can an HR manager expect when performing this employee evaluation methods to the top-level manager specifically?
Well, when performed properly, 360 feedback process helps leaders raise their self-awareness through understanding the perspective of coworkers. They create action plans to guide learning, personal growth, and development where it will have the most impact. It will also help you to respond to the needs of colleagues and teams. And it's going to foster an empowering, team-driven environment.
Hey, Wes, so we have a question here from the audience. They want to know exactly, do you have a specific example that you could share showing how 360 evaluations can be used to develop and improve a leadership program?
Absolutely. For example, one of the companies that work with us has narrowed down their list of high potential employees to 21. They believe these employees had some leadership potential, but there were conflicting ideas and opinions during the group discussions. So the management decided to use a 360 assessment to confirm the supervisor manager's opinions or validate the opinions of others. This was immensely successful. They rated 21 employees and received very candid feedback. After the assessment, 6 people were confirmed as rising stars and placed into an advanced leadership development program. 2 had previously attended the leadership development program and were tasked with continuing education and applications of skills learned. 13 of them were assigned individual development plans based on areas of opportunity and provided individual coaching, but 2 of them were removed from their leadership grid due to the lack of maturity in response to coaching. This shows how the results of employee evaluations can be used in talent management and career development, virtually for a company in any industry and of any size.
Thank you, Wes, for your excellent example. From that example, we can see that 360-degree results can help companies develop various leadership and coaching plans for their employees. But do competencies really translate into measurable ROI results?
Well, studies have shown competencies make key connections between the different steps and phases of management systems. I wanted to share this sort of image with you, how you can see how everything interconnects. This extends from recruitment all the way up to succession planning. When the multi-step 360 process is done properly, it positively affects and generates accurate tools and measurements needed to drive a successful system. You cannot produce an actual figure for ROI, but what's the cost of having the wrong type of leaders in your organization?
Hey, well, that's just another audience question actually for you here. What is the minimum amount of employees that can be evaluated using this 360-degree method?
Well, there is no minimum amount. You can start off by evaluating only 1 employee. Also, 360 evaluations do not necessarily need to be performed to every single company employee. Depending on a project or project objective, you can evaluate the executive team or a particular department or potential participants of a leadership program, maybe employees who've applied for a promotion, or they've just applied for internal job change. You do need to be careful, though. You don't want to just single out 1 employee if you had some concerns. So you should manage that, but there really isn't any minimum number of employees. It can vary.
Just again, for a reminder for those on the call or for anyone that has joined us late, there is a special offer that we are giving away for everyone who remains on the call until the end of this presentation. Be sure and stay tuned for that, because you will very much appreciate that for all you HR managers out there. So, all right, so let's continue on here, Wes, and basically some more nitty-gritty regarding 360 feedback. And if we let's summarize now, and let's say, how do companies and organizations benefit from successful 360-degree management?
Absolutely. Really, they're into 3 main categories. So the first one being team development, the synergy. Constructive feedback between team members allows the groups to learn as a whole how to work more effectively together. It improves communication. The multi-rater feedback opens the door for dialogue, which will improve not only for individual but team performance as well. And it opens a development culture, reduced discrimination. So the 360 feedback emphasizes the importance of having a team approach to development. It will also yield higher performance for not only the team but the entire company organization. For leadership development, it creates an interactive approach. So using a 360 focuses on the interactions of both leaders and collaborators instead of focusing only on the competencies of the leader. It will have that trickle-down effect. So the 360-degree process works best as it starts with the executives at the top of an organization and cascades downward throughout. The development planning and follow-up. The 360 received allows for framework in which one can plan and engage participants in constructive, individualized planning of leadership development goals. And also personal development. A nice quote that I like is, "We build great people who then build great products and services." So for that career development, the 360 feedback identifies participants' strengths and weaknesses, and it motivates them to actively participate in one's own development within that company organization. That will then increase that employee engagement. So participants see feedback directly applied to their jobs as well as the organization. That individual results link the participants more closely to the organization and to his or her supervisor, peers, and customers. So to summarize, 360 feedback is one of the best methods for understanding personal and organizational development needs. For many reasons, organizations are no longer responsible for developing the careers of their employees. If they were, multi-rater feedback can provide excellent information to an individual, so what she needs to do to enhance his or her career. It really seems like it's a win-win for all sides.
And as far as actually, getting into the benefits of 360 management, for those that may remember an earlier slide, we touched on planning, efficiency, flexibility, data, and the end user experience. Why don't we start with planning? I think everyone here can see it on the screen. So, Wes, what are some of the features that the Grapevine Evaluations tool has that could help me or help other HR managers set up the employee evaluation program and basically require as little monitoring as possible, because obviously, time is precious?
Absolutely. Just going to switch screens here and jump into the actual admin interface of Grapevine. So part of the planning, doing the setup, one great feature we have here in the user administration area is you can create additional administrators. So if you wanted to have other team members come in and be able to help with the setup or do some of that work, you can create as many administrator accounts as you wish. The nice thing about it is you can control the rights and privileges of each user. So if there's any information you want to keep confidential or you don't want to give them report access, you're in control of that and any of the data. Instead of you trying to reinvent the wheel and create your own questions and figure out what competencies to focus on, in this top right, the question templates, we have some pre-designed assessments that you can click on the thumbnails and browse through the different competencies and questions of each. You can copy any of these to your account. Once it's in your account, it's yours to customize. You can add in your own content to it. You can delete any of the content you don't wish to have, upload your logo, and sort of change that wallpaper. Outside of these pre-designed templates, we also have question libraries. So if you wanted to sort by numerous competencies, you can pick and choose on any of these competencies, and it's just point and click. It's under communication, what questions you'd like to have included from communication. Once you've selected the questions you want through all the categories, you just click on the Create Evaluation, and it merges all the questions into one form. And again, you can upload your logo to it, add in any of your own content. So we provide a lot of resources there to help you get going. Doing the initial build is a nice, easy step menu. So as long as you start in each step and work your way through, it's going to guide and walk you through this whole process from start to finish. Bringing employees into the tool, we have Excel import feature. Pretty straightforward. Download our Excel file, copy and paste the names and emails into it, save it to your desktop, upload that file, and all those employees are now into Grapevine, nice and easy. So we've tried to simplify this whole setup from start to finish, doing throughout the application to just save as much of your time and make that setup as easy as possible for you.
And as far as efficiency is concerned, is there a way basically to reduce the amount of time spent on employee evaluations, with 360-degree feedback, and more specifically with Grapevine Evaluations?
Absolutely. I mean, your time is sort of the most important to us. Any form you have set up in the account, we have a one-click copy. So if you do it on an annual basis, or as someone's going through a training program each time you have a program, once the form's in your account, it's a one-click copy. You click this copy button, it copies over in that one click all the questions set up, the look and feel, all your report settings, so that one click, you put in the new title, and away you go. When you're actually working with the tool, once you go into the distribution area, we've added automation to it. So at any of the launch, email reminders, whenever you click on any of these, you can schedule everything advanced. So you can essentially automate this whole process. So if you're doing the setup this week, you can do the process, but you don't want it to launch till next Monday. You just set up the date, 9 a.m., hit submit, set up your email reminders, set up the close to be at the end of the month. once you schedule all those tasks, you don't need to babysit Grapevine. All of those will run for you behind the scenes, so it's going to just sort of provide that automation to you without having you to come back to trigger all these events. Monitoring the status in real time right from your home page. You can click on the little information button and you get a real-time status snapshot as to how many evaluations are out there, how many are complete, partially complete, and not started. You can view these as a list or view the detail as to how many evaluations each person had. So there's lots of features in there built in to sort of make you as efficient as possible to make this an easy process for you.
It certainly seems very straightforward. I think that's something that a lot of people would appreciate. I know comparing other uses and features and tools in the past, this seems pretty straightforward. And again, I just want to remind everyone that there is a special offer again for everyone who is on the call until the end. So do consider yourself some of the luckiest HR employees around, because you will be very pleasantly surprised. Moving along here, I want to get into the topic of flexibility in terms of the tool. Specifically, if I'm using the tool Wes, like how can I easily set up 360 feedback for multiple employees? And especially if they come from different departments, right? So different management levels, et cetera, and therefore they all require different criteria of evaluations.
Absolutely. I mean, from the flexibility standpoint, Grapevine is the most flexible, customizable tool in the marketplace. We don't limit you as to the number of forms you can create in your account. We don't limit you as to the number of questions that you have under each form. You can set up as many questions as you'd like. We don't limit you as to the number of raters any one person can have. So all of that is just included with the product. So there's, that's not driving up the cost. It's just a feature of the tool. But with respect to the actual content and the customization flexibility there, you don't need to use our question libraries. They're there as a value add. It's included with the product. If you have a competency model or a question set that you've used in the past and you've been doing it manually, paper-based, and you're just looking now to automate that whole process, again, you can build and create your own forms and use your own content. Again, you can set up as many of these questions as you wish. You can drag and drop any of these questions and adjust the order, adjust the pages. Working with any of these questions, you can just click the edit button and you can edit any of the content or question text. It's just like using Word. You type in the text box, then hit save. All that's done for you. Or if you're bringing content in the Grapevine, you can right-click, copy and paste from Word into the appropriate areas as well. Another nice feature that we have is this relationship manager. This allows a lot of flexibility of the tool. So in this case, on my demo here, I've set up that traditional 360 where you have self, manager, direct report, peers. All of these categories are customizable to you. You can have as many as you need. You can call them whatever you'd like. So instead of manager, you call it team leader or supervisor. That's fine. Or if you're doing your C-level staff and you wanted feedback from the board of directors, you can create a separate category for them. Or if you want some feedback from external sources, such as clients or customers, you can also create additional categories for that. So we provide a lot of flexibility in who's providing feedback and completing that 360. Any of the email communication that's being sent out during this distribution on the this email of the launch emails, the reminder emails, when you're distributing reports, you can fully customize all of that communication. The emails look like they come from you. If they reply to the email, it's going to go to you. But you're in full control of all that communication, word for word, that's going out to the employees. And also, most importantly, is the report output. We allow you to customize these reports. You can customize what's included, what pages are included in the report. You can turn on and turn off any of these pages. You can, again, drag and drop the order of each one of these sections of how they'll appear in the report. So the whole report output is completely customizable and flexible to you as the admin. You're in full control of that data.
Speaking of data, actually, what kind of data does Grapevine allow me to work with, or basically anyone using the tool? Does it include some sort of in-depth analysis, or just run-of-the-mill type stats. Could you maybe explain or talk a little bit more about this?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, the ability to report back on a much more detailed data with specific visions for the business. So all the data, again, is available in real time to you as the administrator. You can log in and look at these data, even as other data is still being collected. So there's no lag as to when this data is available in your account. You're in control of the competencies, to what the high-level competencies are, what they're called, what questions belong to each competency. So Grapevine knows what to average together to provide a high-level score for leadership or for vision, etc. We allow you to create customizable report groups. So if you wanted to show comparisons to an individual to the company average, team average, or department average, you can set that up as well. You can call them whatever you'd like. The reporting structure, we offer both individual-based reports, so you can pull a report on Lisa, Mark, or Chris and see how they performed with their self-scores, their manager, peers, direct reports. We also allow you to provide executive summary reports. So if you've created these report groups, you can now pull reports by teams or departments or overall company averages as well. From getting the reports into the hands of everyone, we have a one-click report distribution feature. So instead of sending the reports out just to the employees, the participants, you can also trigger the jobs to send all the reports out to their managers. All of our reports are available or in PDF format. You as the admin can have access to these reports in real time. You just click on that PDF symbol beside the individual, and they'll download a copy of their report in real time based on whatever information is collected. Outside of these PDF reports, we also give you the ability to export all the raw data into Excel-based files. So whether you just wanted to keep a copy of that data for your own records, or if you wanted to just do any other further analysis or work with that data, you can easily bring it into Excel and work with as well. That's basically sort of it from the reporting standpoint of some of the flexibility that's there in the reporting engine included with the product.
Hey, Wesley, I have one more question from the audience. Rafik is asking, as an HR manager, what should I do after I receive 360 evaluation results?
Well, usually the HR managers would either conduct a one-hour meeting with the person who was evaluated. So they would sit down, and for those debriefing sessions, individual reports are used. In cases where a large amount of employees were evaluated, maybe the HR manager might schedule a workshop for up to, say, 20 of the managers to help them process and interpret these results and make that data actionable. The HR manager can then prepare a summary report that synthesizes the results to determine training and coaching priorities for the employees for the upcoming year.
All right, and just getting into the last point here, Wes, for the end user experience. Is it important for me basically to be able to easily explain to the employees who's being evaluated, as well as to other raters, what the process is, and how difficult is it to basically rate somebody and submit the answer? Because I'm sure that HR managers and myself or whoever would be using this would like to avoid answering unnecessary questions.
Absolutely. I mean, we've tried to make the end user side as easy as possible. So just switching screens here so you can see. We get tremendous feedback on the ease of use of the product from the end user side. So the sort of snapshot here, the end user screen, once they log into their dashboard, they get brought to this main screen. The dashboard, again, is branded with your logo. So to the end user, that whole process is branded with your logo. So it almost looks like you have your own internal application supporting this. They get a summary of everything they're responsible for, so they can see how many 360s they've been assigned to complete. They're given the status breakdown. The nice thing about this is since they've been asked to complete 3 evaluations, the end user is not going to receive 3 different emails with different links and IDs and passwords. They receive one email. When they log in, everything they're responsible for is managed on the dashboard. They simply just click on the evaluations to complete, and everything, the 3 individuals they've been asked to evaluate is here. it lists their relationship to them, and it shows the status. All you do is you click open to open the form of the person you want to evaluate. And again, up comes that form that you've built and customized with your look and feel, your content. I can see, since I was partially completed, the questions I've already answered. I can adjust any of the questions, or I can start now proceeding and moving along, completing the rest of the form. Or I can navigate my way back and sort of see and review any other answers. Nice thing about it is if I get pulled into a meeting or a phone call at any point, I can click this save button, come back at a later date, and finish off. So everything that we've just looked at here in the last 30 seconds, this is your end user experience. So again, you don't need to provide any training to the end users on how to use this new software application. Very easy to use. We're web-based, so there's nothing to install or to download. We're compatible across the board. You know, once they log in, there's pretty much only one area for them to click. It's very intuitive, very user-friendly to the end users.
As we have been mentioning throughout the presentation and as promised, very special offer for everyone now who has remained on the webinar until this very moment. And as you know, being a HR manager, you know, working for a company or working with your company, you basically have to pay a portion out of pocket, you know, for these kinds of programs and getting things set up and everything. So what we're going to do is Grapevine is going to waive the setup fee, which is a $500 value, absolutely free. And this includes the creation of the account, the training session, etc., unlimited phone and email support for the life of the account. Basically, maybe Wes, would you like to expand a little bit upon this with any details that you wish to let everyone know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as with all the tools out there, if you've looked at them, there's always this setup fee, which, you know, is always a hard cost to get over outside of just the usage fee. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible to get your organization on board with using Grapevine. So we're waiving that setup fee, and as Adrian mentioned, that setup fee typically it would include, you know, we're going to create your account. We provide a web training session with you to get you on your way and comfortable with you getting the setup and rolling out Grapevine. It's typically payable one time only, so you would never pay that again. So we're waiving that fee, but you're always going to continue to have now that same unlimited phone and email support for the life of the account. So if you have any questions or need any of that guidance, you know, please give us a call or shoot us an email, and someone's there to help. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible to get on board with Grapevine. The only other cost to use Grapevine, now that we've waived the setup fee, is the cost per employee being evaluated. So other than that, there is no other annual maintenance fees, or you wouldn't pay this fee now year 2. So we're waiving that just to hopefully, for now that you see the value in using Grapevine, and to get you on board.
That's a very generous offer, Wes. And now let's start the Q&A session. Please feel free to ask any questions you have. This is for anybody who's on the webinar right now. Yeah, ask any questions you have, either about 360 evaluations in general or Grapevine evaluation solution. Looks like we have a question from Neil, and he says, sounds like a generous offer, Wes. So do you provide any kind of support or training to ensure that people who take advantage of it get the most out of the tool?
Yeah, I mean, based on, you know, that setup fee that we're waiving, so there is that training session that we provide every new customer. So we're going to sort of talk with you, understand the specifics of your project or what you're looking to achieve, and then during that training session, we're going to point you in the right direction of what features you should use, or things we recommend to get the most out of the tool, the most out of the report center at the end. So, you know, we're there to make the project a success for you. I mean, at the end of the day, if your project's success, the chances of you coming back to us to do the following year are that much greater, and, you know, we want you to come back as a customer. So we're there to provide, you know, not only just the training at the beginning to get going, but also there with unlimited phone and email support right the way through your whole project.
And we have another question from Hilda now, and she's asking, thanks for the webinar, Wes. I'm considering trying out your tool for some of my employees. However, I'm concerned that it's a better fit for large companies. Can I implement it in my company if I want to evaluate only 5 people first?
Absolutely. Grapevine, we're a scalable product. So now that we've waived that setup fee for you, you're just paying a cost per head for each employee being evaluated. So that cost per head is scalable for any small, medium, or large size opportunities. The more people that you have to evaluate, the cheaper the cost per head. So it doesn't matter what size of team. We've worked with all sizes, whether it's just doing a handful of your management team or you're doing your management team and up worldwide. It doesn't matter. You only pay for what you use. And now, again, waiving that setup fee makes it easy as possible to get going. From a team of 5, you're only looking at $69 a person. So there's lots of value there for that to get you on your way with using Grapevine.
Wes, just basically, for people that want to get in touch with you, I'm sure that there's still some folks who have questions, etc. What would be the best way for them to contact you?
I'll pull my credentials on the screen here. So again, my direct line, feel free to call me at any point at 888-235-1589. My email address is on the screen as well, or right from grapevineevaluations.com. There's a contact us you can fill out with any questions that you might have. But I strongly urge you to go to our site. There's lots of resources available. You can view sample reports. You can view sample question templates, and as well there's a nice 12-minute video product tour that takes you through the full in-depth look of Grapevine. So I urge you to just go to our site and search around, and please feel free to reach out to me or our team at any point with any questions. I can always answer any specifics or unique situations you think you might have.
Awesome. Well, again, I want to thank everyone for being on this call, and please be sure and do take up a special offer, because that is a very generous offer. I know being in the HR industry, you don't see those kinds of things very often, and especially with the ease of this tool and basically all the benefits it provides, it's something definitely worth pursuing. So, again, Wes, thank you for being on this call basically today and helping explain a little bit and kind of guide people ins and outs of 360 feedback.
No problem. Well, I thank you. I want to thank everyone for their time as well and joining us today, and thank you, Adrian and Katya, for hosting this. I hope everyone has found it informative and hopefully have the chance to speak with you and earn your business down the road. So thanks again, everyone, for joining.
Okay, everyone, and be sure again, once more, give Wes a quick phone call there or email or get in touch with him, and he'll be able to help you in any way that you need it. So thanks again, guys, and thank you, everyone, for being with us today. Take care.
Bye-bye.